So here are some of the tools that are used during the incident response, and in particular the digital forensics piece. Okay. But in general, you want to get the tool that can get you the best effects for the least amount of work or cost to you, right? So that's the right tool for the job. And part of this, beforehand anyway, you need to, during your planning, you need to make sure that you have an understanding of, is it Windows, is it Linux, is it Mac? Now more and more Macs are showing up in the workplace, right? So why is that important? Why do you need to know what machines are out there?
Because the machine would determine what tools you're going to use. Not everything that works on a Mac is not necessarily going to work on Windows, so you have to know what tools you're going to use based on the system that you're going to be collecting from.
That's correct.
Also file structures and understanding how the operating system works and where files are collected.
Right. That's also true. For those of you that didn't hear that, you had mentioned the file systems, right? Linux has the ext4 or 3, depending on the thing. You have NTFS for Windows. So this is just the way data is stored in each of the sectors on a hard drive. So if the pattern is this piece first, this piece second, this piece third in a Mac, let's say, it may be in a different order. So you would not be able to read that information if you were to try to open it in, say, an NTFS file structure. So you definitely want to have a good understanding of what kind of devices you're talking about, and the different tools don't tend to cross over into other operating systems, unfortunately. Some of them have been ported to another, but you can't use the same, I'll bring up DD here in a second, but DD is something that was created for the Linux file system to create an image of a hard drive, but there is now a Windows DD, but it's been ported. You can't just take one and bring it onto Windows and run it as if it's natively run on Windows. Some of the thoughts with if it is a server, can it be removed from the network? Do you have physical access or remote access to collection? Right? Each one of those, sometimes, or I should say most times, with the remote collection piece, you're looking at a different piece of software than when you have physical access and you're doing local pooling. If you're doing smaller data sets, some of the tools that are open source and are free are fine, but I had mentioned before, they don't necessarily scale well. They aren't designed to go and get data from 10,000 machines. So when you're doing remote collection of hundreds, thousands of machines, you're going to be looking at a different tool set for that as well. Physical characteristics of the system, sometimes that dictates what kind of tools you're going to be using. How much RAM does that particular device have? Right? How large are the hard drives, and how many are there? If you're talking about, if you're familiar with RAIDing, that is the redundant array of independent disks. Is everybody familiar with RAIDing? Pretty familiar, right? There's multiple ways to use RAID. Level 0 or RAID 0 is a straight mirroring, so you basically get redundancy. RAID 1 is when you do striping, and this is where you take some information and you put it on one drive, and you take another swath, if you will,